Hey guys, and welcome to World War II Solitaire board game channel. Finally, it's time to do a playthrough video of Company of Heroes, the board game, of course with the co-op solo expansion. And as you can see, we're also using the terrain pack in this one. We're using both of the terrain packs. The game is quite huge. I am playing currently on a medium map, and which has two boards, and there's a huge map where it will be double the size of this, and we're gonna do that as well, but we're gonna start and as a standard we're gonna use the medium map format because I think that is the best way to play the solo expansion. Other than that, it's a little bit difficult to film this in a good way because it's so huge, and this is going to be a video where I'm going to be doing a little bit more editing than I usually do, and we're going to also change. I'm using a tripod right now, and I'm going to be changing between the tripod and the over the top mount, which will give you kind of a bird's eye view. And this is not going to be a how to play video. This is simply a playthrough video. And so anyway, in this game we have three phases. We have the maneuver phase, the damage phase, and the supply phase. And during the maneuver phase, I'm thinking we're going to have a top down bird's eye view, which will let you see how the different units are moving around the board. Then when we're doing our damage phase, we can get a little bit closer with the tripod in case we have any combat. And then during our supply phase, we can either be in either one mode. It doesn't really matter. And my hope for this video is that it's going to be enjoyable and not feel too, because I watch some top mounted videos which you kind of feel far away from the game. And this is a beautiful game with beautiful minis, and you really, have the feeling like you're in the thick of it. So that is the experience that I want to give you guys who are watching this video. Anyway, like I said, we are using Company of Heroes, the board game, and then we also have the box says for some reason co-op expansion, but it's actually called solo and co-op expansion. And then we're using terrain pack number 1 and terrain pack number 2. And that is also going to be the standard mode, which we are going to go ahead and play this game. I am going to do quite a lot of playthroughs of this game. So for our first game, we're going to go ahead and use the Feeble commander, which is an easy difficulty commander. It is actually the only difficulty commander. And then we have the standard incomes, which is 1 manpower, 1 munition, 1 fuel, 0 victory points. And our stockpile is also standard, which is 4 of each and 0 victory points. So I was thinking I'm going to be playing as the Americans, and I'm going to go ahead and play one game with each commander because I think every commander is so different. It's really interesting. That is for me anyway, the most interesting part about this game is how it can be so different depending on which commander you choose. So for this game, we're going to go ahead and start with the international commander, which is the Veteran Infantry Doctrine. And this commander can actually be used with the Americans, with the OKW, with the Germans, and with the Russians and the British. So it can be used with any faction there is. And basically, as you might guess, it makes your infantry really strong. So the first one gives you endurance training, which is going to give all of your infantry, and that includes machine gunners, AT teams, and so on. It's going to give them all the ability to spend 4 command points per round instead of 3. And then we have the Quartermasters, which if we have captured a munitions point and we have an infantry standing on that specific point during the supply phase, we will get 1 additional munition. And then we have the Hardened Soldiers. That is the best one in my opinion. What that does, it lets me buy a defense die for the cost of free munitions. So you can have some really strong infantry that way. And then finally we have the last one, which is Medics Training, and infantry can pay 1 munition to heal themselves for 1 health once during the supply phase. That one I haven't really used a lot. I mainly use this one, and I think this one is also quite good, as it makes your weapons teams able to deploy much faster. And that is also the last note of this game. We are going to be playing on with the advanced rules. I think this game is more complete that way, and that is how we are going to play all of the games of Company of Heroes on this channel. Okay, so start of the game, we get to choose 2 green units from our first building. We can choose between the Rifleman and the Mortar Team. We can have 2 Riflemen, 2 Mortar Teams, or 1 of each. But I am going to go ahead and choose 2 Rifleman squads. You can see here on the first option of the command card that we are going to spawn 2 green units for our German enemy AI commander. Alright, so let's start with turn number 1, and we are going to start by spawning our enemy 2 green units. So the enemy units are always going to spawn the closest to their spawning area, and you're going to have to watch me occasionally sometimes here over the map. So we place them over there, which is their spawning point. And we spawn our own infantry, and I want to spawn them 1 here, and then I want 1 of them over there. So now we take turn spending CP, and my first unit is spending 3 CP moving into the manpower capture point. And let's see what our German friend is going to do. So we are currently in phase 1, so we draw the first phase 1 card. The first one would be a cavalry assault for a yellow unit, but the enemies don't have a yellow unit. And the green one is going to be a green control point. Green unit that is not on a play controlled or neutral control point, move towards the nearest control point AI does not control and has no units on. So we are going to go ahead and move one of the German units. 1, 2, and we will put 2 CP on that unit to note that has been used. So the next one would be a blue one, but they have no blue unit, so that is the end of their turn. They have to forfeit 1 CP. For my turn, I will spend 2 CP moving in my second Rifleman squad into the fuel point. And then I pass, and it's the Germans again. And this time they have another one for the green unit, which is for a victory point that is actually called green victory point. So green unit not on a control point, closest to the victory point, will move towards the nearest victory point. And we only have 1 green unit, which is not on a control point, and that is this one. So 1, 2, 3, and he spends 3 CP moving towards the closest. He should actually move here to the closest victory point, since this is a victory point. And that is my turn again, and I'm gonna pass obviously, since I have no more units to spend CP on, and I want to stay here with my units. I see that I have forgotten to take off the colors of the flags. They should be like this with no colors on. I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera just to get it done. I played a few games with this scenario before, just trying it out. But we are not gonna have a battle sequence this turn, So let's go straight to the supply phase so you can see how that works. Okay, so once you're done with the movement phase or maneuver phase, you will remove all the spent CP from the map. And then normally, of course, we would have the battle phase or the damage phase, which is called. But now, since we have no units within range of each other, we're gonna skip right to the third phase, which is the supply phase. So we can see here behind this building, I have two squads which are standing, two infantry squads which are standing on capture points. So both of these points have been captured, a fuel point and a manpower point. And then we can see that the enemy over here to our right is standing on a fuel point. There we go. And the enemy AI will capture with any kind of unit. They will capture with tanks, with yellow units, whatever, while I can only capture with infantry. So now let's go to our adjust incomes and collect stockpiles. Okay, so I captured a manpower point and a fuel point. So my manpower income increases by 1 and my fuel income increases also by 1. So let's increase our stockpile now. So my income of manpower is 2, so I go from 4 to 6. My income of munition is 1, so I go from 4 to 5. My income of fuel is 2, so I go from 4 to 6. And my income of victory points is still 0, so I will not gain any victory points. So now I can decide if I want to upgrade something, if I want to buy something. And I'm actually going to go ahead and buy the Jeep, I think. Let's see, the Jeep is, we see the price here, 1 manpower and 2 fuel. So let's decrease our income by the cost of the Jeep. And then I have a little Jeep here. And the Jeep is neat in the way that all the light vehicles have something called a speed die. And this lets them take one movement without spending CP. And that also means that they can actually move for 4 points each turn. So that is really cool and a great advantage. I have quite a lot of fuel and manpower left, so I will go ahead and unlock the second building. You can see the cost down here is 3 fuel, 1 manpower, and I'm now going to be able to buy the 50 cal machine gun, anti-tank gun, and the M8 Greyhound. So we have unlocked the company command post, so that's great. And we have to pay, of course, I forgot what it was, 1 manpower, 3 fuel. There we go. Okay, so now it's the enemy's turn to do the supply phase. So we move with 1 step. You can see here on the end of step 9, it's going to be a defeat, or actually that is going to be step 8. So next turn we will spawn 1 yellow AI. So let's prepare that. And let's go to a top view again. Okay, so win any scenario with this easy difficulty commander, what I need is 10 victory points, and I have 8 turns to get those victory points. So the victory points are going to be something that I will prioritize. Yeah, right. We have the yellow German who should spawn over here. If I can reach. And then it's our turn. So the first thing I am going to do is take my squad of infantry here and move 3 points for free CP, which stands for command points, by the way, to the victory point here on the bridge. And it's going to be here where most of the fighting is going to be concentrated. And we pull from the AI action deck our first card. So we have a blue bombardment, but we don't have any blue unit. So the next one is again going to a victory point, a green one, and it says green unit not on a control point, move towards the nearest victory point. So that is quite an easy to solve. So that means this is going over here. And then we have a yellow one, and this one is attack, yellow assault, only unrevealed yellow unit, since we haven't spotted any of those yet. So goes for the yellow one also. Move to nearest enemy unit and prioritize enemy closest to victory point. So the enemy closest to victory point is going to be this one, so he is going to move towards that one. Now the yellow ones count as light vehicles, and remember that light vehicles have the speed die, so he is going to have one extra movement point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So he spends 3 CP and he spends his movement dice, and he's 1, 2, 3 hexes away from me, so we can't see each other. I can only see 2 hexes with my Rifleman and with most of my units, and the same goes for the axis. And I will move again, and this time, see what I want to do with my infantry here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move up 1, 2, 3. I'm moving up here with my infantry. And that means it's the Germans' turn again. So again we have a victory point, a green one. Green unit not on the control point. And however, both of the green units are on control points, so none of them is actually going to do that action. So we're going to go ahead and skip that action. And the next one is the yellow, but the yellow have already spent 3 CP, which is its maximum and the speed die. So the yellow can't do anything either. So this time we're going to go ahead and go with the Jeep. We go 1, 2, 3, spending the 3 CP. And then for the last movement, we go ahead and spend the speed die, going a last 4th step to the victory point, control point. And it's the last turn now of the axis, and we have a retreat for yellow, but that will only happen if we have a damaged yellow unit. And then we have another victory point for the greens, but like the card says, the greens will not move according to this card. So green victory point, green unit not on a control point, and we don't have one of those. This is something that has been revised in new editions. I saw they updated that card, so I think they will actually go ahead and go, even if they are on a control point, the green ones. But I'm playing with the 1.0 rules, so I'm playing with the currently released rules from the Kickstarter, and I know there is a bunch of updated rules, but I'm not gonna deal with that. I will play with that once I have the 1.5 Kickstarter, then I'm gonna play with those rules. So currently, if you're wondering, I'm playing with the rules as they are delivered with the Kickstarter. Okay, and that is the end of our movement phase, or what's it called? Maneuver phase. Maneuver phase, and we will collect our CP, and we will also collect all of the CP from the Germans. And now we're gonna go ahead and might as well use capture. So we captured 2 points, and 2 of those points are victory points. So we capture 1 with Jeep. The Jeep, by the way, has the ability to capture not all light units. Most light vehicles don't have that ability, but it is one of the Jeep's special abilities, which makes the Jeep really quite a good investment early on. The Germans over here, they capture this. And while I'm over here, I might as well reset the speed die of that German unit and do the same as for the Jeep. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go ahead and forget. All right, so let's take a look at our resource card. All right, so just a quick look on the battlefield before we get going with the resource cards. This is how it's looking now. My units have captured the bridge, and we have captured my victory points, control point over here. There is another one, the third one, last one, which is captured by the Germans. They have also captured a fuel point, and they don't gain anything from capturing points. It's just for the AI to kind of know what to do, because it's gonna move 2 points, which is not controlled by the AI. And when the AI has captured all of these points on this side of the river, they're gonna go ahead and start moving towards my points. Okay, so anyway, it's looking good so far. I'm a little bit worried about what's hiding under that yellow unit, which is approaching my troops on the bridge. But I am going to be able to get to covering one of those buildings before I have to find out. So that is pretty cool. Anyway, like I said, I captured 2 points this turn. I captured 2 victory points. So we will increase the victory point income from 0 to 2. And then we're going to go ahead and change our stockpiles. So we have 2 in manpower, 1 in munition, 2 in fuel, and let's see, 2 in victory points. Remember, we need 10 victory points to win. Okay, so let's see what we want to perhaps buy for this turn. Okay, so we have the US headquarters, the company command post, and then we have a third battalion command post, which we can purchase for 2 manpower and 5 fuel. And that is going to let us build tanks mainly. I can show you guys. It's going to let me build the M4 Sherman, the M10, and the Major, which is an officer, infantry officer. But actually, since we're playing as the veteran Infantry Doctrine, we're mainly going to focus on infantry in this game. So I want definitely to get an MG team, because those guys are they are crazy good. So that is going to be my first priority, to get an MG team out. So MG team, the cost is 4 manpower. So I decrease from 5 to 1 in manpower. And the MG team consists of 3 infantrymen. And of course also a machine gun. And the machine gun does not represent any health. It is just the infantrymen themselves, so it has basically 3 lives. And then don't forget, you need one of these red dice as well, because this is currently packed up, and to start actually shooting with this machine gun, he's gonna need to actually pack the weapon down, or whatever you call it, set it up. And it's currently packed up, they're carrying it. And to shoot with it, I have to spend 1 CP, and then it's all set up, and he can start firing, or they can start firing. But currently it's packed up to be able to move. Okay, so I only have 1 manpower left now, so I can't really do anything else. I can purchase upgrades for munition, but I don't really feel like there is something I want to buy right now. So I think I might wait with that. I could get for my Rifleman, I could get a weapon upgrade. Would it be good to perhaps get an armor piercing one, since that yellow approaching unit might be an armored car. But I think I'm gonna wait with that and just see what happens, and then next turn, if that is the case, that is when I'm gonna get that. Okay, so for our enemies during the supply phase, again we move it 1 step further. Remember, when it's over here I lose. This time we have a blue enemy to spawn, so it's gonna be one of these, and they are always, either they are a mortar or they are some kind of artillery event. So let's go back to the top view. Okay, so top view engaged. I just gotta step down from this chair. I'm too lazy to edit out the first seconds of me moving around. And if you hear me get like starting to breathe heavily, it's because I am standing up playing, because this game is just so big. I have to step up and down from chairs, I have to move around the table, I have to stand up. But it's worth it because it is a beautiful game, and I really want to showcase this game in the best possible way. And I think to do that is to use the top-down view. That is going to be the best way. Let me know what you think, by the way. That would mean a lot to me. Do you think this is the best way to do it? Or do you think that the units are too small from up there? I don't know. Let me know. It would be cool to know what you think of this idea. Anyway, out of breath, we are gonna go ahead and start moving around, and I think there is a chance that we're actually gonna see some action during our battle turn. So let's see. First of all, our infantry over here, we want to go ahead and move them into that building. Let's see. And when you take cover in buildings, which is heavy cover, you will gain two defense dice, and the best part is you can't be pinned down. Oh, come on. So we move into this building, spending 1 CP, moving into that building, and now we're actually only 2 hexes away from this guy, and that means we will reveal him since we have line of sight of 2, so we can see him. And, ooh, I knew it. It was an armored car. Okay, so you don't have to do this in any way, but I actually really like using the minis. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and use the minis also for the German, and we're going to keep the counters as they are a good representation and reminder of the values from the armored car. So first of all, this armored car has 3 in health, 2 in range, and his damage is 2 anti-infantry. So he will kill 2 infantry when he fires. On the left of these, there's also a reveal action. And the specific reveal action of this guy is to pin whatever unit reveals it. And this time it got revealed by my men in the building, but men in buildings, or women, can't be pinned. So his reveal action is wasted. Okay, so we have an armored car. We need to get rid of that. That is going to be hard to destroy. Okay, so I think I might want to wait getting my... Okay, I'm going to get them closer in here. Let's see, 1... 2, or actually it's not my turn. What am I doing? But I still have 2. I have still 2 CP which I can use. And the question now is what I want to do. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and move these guys into the other building to get a little bit more fire support. And they, just like my other squad, will have 2 defense from being inside a building. And that means for every hit I get to roll a defense die and hopefully remove that hit. Okay, so first move for our friends, and the first one is going to be the blue guys. They only have 1 action, which is blue barrage, and that is move within 3 hexes of enemy unit. Sorry. Towards a hex that is 4 hexes away from the nearest enemy unit. So they are gonna try to get in range, and probably some mortar. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is actually a bit too close, but perhaps if we move from to this side, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he's gonna move over here. And then let's see the CP. dropped it. There we go. And if he is still within 4 hexes as we start the damage phase, he is going to be revealed. But until then, he's still a secret enemy. Okay, so they still have 1 CP, and you know this one, which means a green unit will move towards a victory point, but it's a green unit not on a control point. So we go to the yellow one, and the yellow one says revealed yellow unit, and we have no unrevealed one because our only yellow one is revealed. So the last CP is forfeit, wasted by the Germans. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move 1, 2, 3, moving with my infantry, my machine gun squad, and that is gonna be the Germans again, and they have the first one, which is green control point. So green unit that is not on a player controlled or neutral point closest to the base, move towards the nearest control point that the AI does not control. And let's see, we have two green ones, and it's going to be the one closest to base. It's going to be this one. So he moves for 2 control points over here, and that also reveals him. And that reveals that he's a veteran MG42 team. And the veteran MG42 team also has what's it called? A reveal action, and that means he's this time he's pinning, but my guys can't get pinned, so we don't have to deal with him. And just like I did with the armored car, I will make a mini for this unit. I think it's much more fun that way. And I mean, spending $400 on minis, of course you gotta use them. You can't use the counters. And this, since he's a veteran, he also has a defense die, which makes him really dangerous. That means he's gonna be even harder to take down. And he will be facing, there is a face one, he will be facing my squad, which is occupying that house. And then they have one more, which is yellow control point. Yellow unit that is not on a neutral or player control point, move towards the closest control point the AI does not control. And that is going to be the munition. So this guy is moving, first he's spending 1 CP, and then he's spending his speed die, moving into this control point. That is good for me, because that means he's not going to be able to fire at my Rifleman for this turn at least. And that means it's my last move, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Jeep. Okay, I'm using the Jeep, spending the speed die, and moving up here, and spending this 3 CP. I don't know why I moved into the building. I should have moved to the command point, but we'll take care of that later. Okay, so that means the enemy will have their last turn, and then we have, again, this victory point 1, but we have no green unit, which is not on a control point. So the next one is yellow attack. Unrevealed yellow unit, but we don't have an unrevealed one. The only yellow unit is revealed. And then the last one is the blue barrage. Move towards a hex that is 4 hexes away from the nearest enemy, and he is already 4 hexes away, so that action is also skipped. So that means it's the end of this turn. There will be no more movement. So let's collect all our CP. If I can get it out without, there we go. And our enemy CP, and don't forget to refresh the speed die. I actually have to stand up quite a bit, even if I ain't filming, because the game is so huge. Can you just imagine with 2 of these maps? I mean 4, because this is 2, so with 4 of them. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so that is the end. We are now actually, for the first time in this game, gonna go to the damage phase. And the damage phase is gonna be between my infantry in the building and the machine gun fire down there. Okay, so this is our current tactical situation. We have a jeep back here which is capturing a flag. We have 2 rifleman squads which are occupying these buildings. We have a machine gun squad which is not set up yet. It's about to set up on the defensive side of the river. On the enemy side here we have a armored car, and then we have a veteran machine gun squad and an unknown unit here and another unknown unit, a blue unit in the back. And the first thing we're gonna do is actually to reveal that unit, since his remains, and it's a mortar team. The mortar team has a range of 4 and health of 3. You can see him right here. And the mortar team is very special in the solo expansion because the unit that he fires on can, even if they don't have the sight on him, because for example mortar units, my units, only have a sight of 2, even if they don't have the sight, they can actually hit him, which is kind of cool, and it's only the solo expansion, but we will get to that. So the current fight is gonna be between the mortar, the machine gun, and these guys here. So we are gonna take a closer look. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use the minis for the mortar team over here. And the mortar team, just like the machine gun team, has a squad of 3 soldiers and then the weapon. So my guys are gonna go ahead and start firing, and we can see on the cards of the buildings we can see the strength of the unit. So the rifleman, his attack is only 1 anti-infantry. So we will go ahead and take a damage die and put that on the machine gun squad over here. The machine gun has also 1, so he will deal 1 anti-infantry damage to my squadron occupying that house. The mortar is a little bit different because that is gonna do high explosive damage. And high explosive damage can be, if the AI is lucky, it can be 2 damage. If they're unlucky, it can be 0, and it can also be 1. So let's roll some dice and see what happens. Let's see, I'm gonna get my dice tower in position and see that you can see the rolls. So first we're gonna go ahead and use the fire on the MG42 team. So since I am firing only once and they have 1 defense die, they will get to re-roll that, and on a roll of something red, which is this one or this one, they take 1 damage. But if it's a black roll, the soldier, the tank, or a green one, the HE and the running man, it will be 0 damage. And they got the green one, so that means it will be 0 damage. So I did unfortunately no damage. That is very bad because I need to do damage early on to get experience. But it is what it is. I miss. Then I have 2 hits on me. So let's start with the machine gunner. I will get to roll, just like him, a defensive die since I have 2 of those. And unfortunately I roll a red one. So that means I've lost 1 soldier to that machine gun fire. Then once we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and roll for the HE damage. If it's a red one, it's gonna be 0 damage. If it's a black, it's gonna be 1. If it's a green, it's gonna be 2 damage. And it's a black one, so that means 1 damage. So the first thing we do is decrease the health of the building. The building has some health of 4, so it goes down to 3. However, my soldiers still have 1 more defense die to roll, so I'm going to roll it to see if that actually inflicts damage on them. And it's a black one, so that means we're safe. It doesn't inflict any damage. And that is the end of the damage phase, and basically my guys have lost 1 soldier, and they have also performed an unsuccessful attack on that machine gun. And we go to our supply phase, and as you can see, my Jeep over here is capturing, you can't see what it is, but it is a manpower control point. And our German enemies have also captured a point. It doesn't matter, they've actually captured 2 points. It doesn't matter what kind of point it is, but it is a munitions and manpower point. So I gotta say that Germans are actually doing quite good here, and I think we're gonna have some trouble with this armored car soon. So we'll see what we can do about that. There we go. And we're gonna go now to our resources. Okay. So first of all, we did capture 1 manpower point. So we have now an income of 3. So we are currently at 1, so we go to 4. And our munition, we have an income of 1, so we go from 6 to 7. Fuel 2, so we go from 3 to 5. Victory points 2, so we go from 2 to 4. Remember, we need 10 victory points before our axes come to this place to win the game. Okay, so do we want to buy something from these cards here? Let's see. The company command post, we can buy an anti-tank gun. That is what I'm gonna do, since we really need something to deal with that armored car. So for the anti-tank gun, we have one of these. The anti-tank gun is also a green unit, meaning it's also an infantry unit. And just like the machine gun squad, we have to pack it up and set it up and all that. So we start with one of these dice. The Rifleman can get an anti-tank upgrade, and the anti-tank gun can get a shield upgrade. So I'm going to buy both of those upgrades and decrease my munition by 6. I currently have 7, so I go down all the way to 1, and then I will give my units the upgrades. So my anti-tank gun receives the shield upgrade, and then one of my infantry squads back there in the houses, one of them is going to receive a bazooka to get the the armor piercing upgrade. And I think actually I'm going to give it to him, since I might want to retreat with these units soon, since they are taking some casualties. And that is it for me. So let's see what the German is going to do. See, I'm just going to move you down here. We have the field commander here, which is going to its 4th phase, and it's a green, it's a yellow and a green unit. Okay, so let's change to the top view again. Alright, so here we go again. We're going to go ahead and place out the new German units. And the German units, or the German team, gets 1 green and 1 yellow. There we go. So let's see what we can do. First of all, we have a spawn here. I'm going to spawn that there. And the question is what I want to do with my 80 gun. If I want to get it up over here. And I still have no experience. That is really bad, because I really need experience. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and activate this gun by setting up. Well, let's see, it's facing this. Which area did it come from? It came... Okay, so it's facing that direction, and we have set up. Let's see. Anyway, about these machine gunner guys, so they also came from here, so they moved like that, so they would actually be standing like that at the beginning, and I would actually have to pay one command point to change the direction and their fire arc, and then pay one more command point to set them up. So that's the way I'm doing it. And then these guys, for my last command point, they are evacuating the building. And that means it's the enemy turn. Tactical advance. So green unit that is not on a player controlled or neutral control point closest to the base, move towards the nearest control point the AI does not control. And the closest green unit to the green base, sorry again, the closest green unit is going to be this one, and he's going to move closer to that control point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so he's moving 1, 2, 3 steps to get closer closer to the victory point. Now I'm just gonna check my camera again to see that I didn't mess it up again. Alright, it looks good enough. Okay, so this is a real challenge recording like this, so I hope that you have at least some patience with me. Let me see if I can get the... and I apologize if I make some errors, and as always I'm very happy for your suggestions and so on. And I know I could spend more time on editing, like for example I could edit out this camera malfunction, but I rather spend the time playing because I play so many games. I mean, I think I've done 60 games on the channel in 2 years. So I'd much rather do that, cover a lot of games, than spend a lot of time editing. Anyway, I am grateful for your feedback. Okay, so that is the enemy turn, so that means it's my turn. And I want to move my 80 gun. So I am going to go ahead and move it. Let's see. I'm moving the 80 gun 1, 2, 3. That's it. And then it's the enemy turn again. And I have recon in force. So the yellow, which is lucky for me, yellow unit that is not on a neutral or play controlled point, move towards nearest control point that the AI does not control. It would move towards the manpower point here, which is 1, 2, 3 hexes away, but the victory point is also 3 hexes away, and that means it's gonna prioritize, because priority is victory points and reading order. So unfortunately that means this guy is gonna go towards the victory point, and I'm not ready for that. So first of all, we spend his speed dice or die. 1, 2, he can't get closer than that, and then so that last movement he spends a CP for, and then we have the green victory point 1, which says green unit not on a control point, but both green units are on a control point, so none of them moves. And the blue one obviously is also in range, so he will not move either, since it says blue unit move towards a hex that is 4 hexes away from the nearest enemy unit. And he is already, or actually he isn't, because I moved my soldiers, so he will actually move closer, so he will be able to fire at my soldiers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he will move, the Mortar Team, they will move 1 hex closer to my poor Rifleman squad there that's looking like they are in trouble. So it's my turn, and I don't have much choice here, I feel like. I am gonna have to retreat with them. They lose their defense dice, of course, after leaving that building. So these guys are retreating. 1, 2. We're actually there. Let's wait with that. Well, it's the last turn, so I have to do it now. Okay. So 1, 2. Since I already spent 1 CP, he can only spend 2 more CP. And then I am gonna move with the car, with the jeep. So 1 with the speed. Oh man. 1 with the speed die, and then 1 with the CP. So he is getting closer to capturing this munition point. And that means it's the last turn now. Recon in force. So let's see here. Yellow control point. Yellow unit that is not on a neutral or player control point, move towards nearest control point that the AI does not control. So he is going to go ahead and move closer to that victory point. And then we have the blue one, which is done, and then we have the green ones, and all our green ones are on control points. You know the deal with the green victory point. If they're already on a control point, they are not going to move for the victory point anyway. So that is the end of the turn. So we collect our CP. Man, it's not good that I don't have this 80 gun set up. It should be set up. It's always hard knowing should you go for the machine gun or should you go for the 80 gun. These armored cars are not fun when enemies start with them. Okay. So I believe we have collected all the CP. So let's go. Are we gonna do? Yes, we have a damage phase. Let's go to that. All right. So we have a little battle here between some rifleman squads, machine gun squad, and this 22 armored car here. So luckily for me, I retreated from this house here because you can see in the background there we have the mortar team, we have an enemy machine gun fire team. They would have teared my infantry to shreds, and that is why it sometimes can be smart to wait. Don't retreat straight away, because if I would have done that in the first turn, the mortar would have moved even further and perhaps targeted these guys instead. Anyway, we're in luck because this 22 armored car, at least it cannot capture the victory points. We're not going to lose the victory point. And to see which unit it will attack, you will just use this target selection card. And the damage of this armored car, let's see if I can get my camera to focus on what I wanted to focus on. To get this armored car to attack, it has 2 of these anti-infantry damage attacks. And that means the target selection is going to be first hand green, so that means infantry. And priorities, closest to victory point, lowest health, reading order. And my closest green unit to a victory point is the one in the building. So because that is just one away. Let's see, actually it's going to be this one, I think. Yeah, they are the same range from the victory point, and unfortunately for me, the second priority is lowest health, and I lost 1 soldier from this guy. Otherwise, it would have been this group targeted since it's reading order in case of a tie. But unfortunately, these guys are going to get hit, and this guy has an attack of 2 anti-infantry, so 2 of my infantrymen are getting killed. That's not good. Okay, so let's hope at least we can do some damage to this guy. My machine gun here has 1 anti-infantry attack, and my Rifleman squad also has an anti-infantry attack, and then my Rifleman also has an anti-infantry attack. Unfortunately, the gun, you can't see the gun. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. The 80 gun, which I have hidden behind this building, isn't set up yet. I'm gonna move that over here later on and set it up. Unfortunately, it's not set up, so I can't use that to target the German car. However, I am gonna roll these 3 dice, and if any of them, if I roll a red, that means that will be a hit. And I really need that now, because what I need for my infantry to become quite strong is for them to get these experience points, which allows me to, with my commander, to upgrade them. So let's zoom out so you can see the roll. So I need to get 3 red ones. Oh, I got 2 red ones. That is actually really good. So I got 2 red ones and 1 black one. And the 2 red ones means that I do 2 damage to this car. It has a health value of 3, so I still need 1 hit to take him out. And once I do that, I'm gonna get 1 experience point for taking him out. But for every turn or every run, whatever you want to call it, you will get 1 experience point for just doing damage to an enemy unit. Okay, so let's get rid of these 2 infantrymen. So you can see the last squad there. There is just one last guy surviving, and we're gonna remove, whoops, these. Okay, so we have done the damage phase. So let's go ahead and go. Let's see, 1, 2. Actually, I can see that this guy is within range of that mortar, because the mortar has a range of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, unfortunately, these guys are gonna get hit with a high explosive. So let's bring back the dice tower and let's roll. It is a green one, so that is, unfortunately for me, that is a critical hit, which means 2 damage points. But these guys have 2 defense die, so let's roll them and hope not for red. Okay, we get 1 black and 1 red result. So the 1 red means we have lost, unfortunately, 1 more infantryman from our squad up there. And something else very beautiful that I see now that I'm doing this is that I see that these guys, I upgraded them with the anti-tank damage. So on top of the normal damage, they do 1 anti-tank damage. And that, my friends, is the 3rd shot needed to take down this armored car. So the armored car was taken down by these guys in the building, which, if you remember, I was deciding between these 2 who to upgrade with the bazooka, and I choose these 2 since this guy was kind of injured. So that is cool, because that takes out this guy. So bye-bye, Mr. Armored Car. That is really cool. Okay, now I only need to get rid of that enemy mortar, and I might be able to do that somehow with Jeep or something. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that is the end. That is the end of the damage phase. So what's going to happen now is we're going to go to our supply phase. And first of all, remember we did 1 damage, and for every turn that you do 1 damage, you get 1 experience points. Then you get 1 additional experience point every time that you destroy enemy unit. We're going to use this experience straight away, and we are going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and buy the first Veteran Infantry Doctrine. All factions, endurance training, all infantry can spend 4 CP per round, and 1 infantry unit gains their experience upgrade. Okay, so the experience upgrade, I'm gonna go with the 50 cal machine gun, which gets +1 to range and +1 to sight. That is just a very awesome upgrade, and you will mark it with this die. So I am marking the machine gun with it to see that it's been upgraded. Okay, so now that we're through with that, we're gonna go ahead and adjust our points. Manpower, we have 3, so we go from 4 to 7. Munition, we have 1, so we go from 1 to 2. Fuel, we have 2, we go from 5 to 7. Victory points, we go from 4 to 6. So we only need 4 more victory points to win this game. So it looks like most likely we're gonna win. Okay, so I have 2 munition. Kind of want to upgrade the machine gun, but I need 4, as you can see here, to upgrade him. But I have quite a lot of manpower, quite a lot of fuel, so I am going to go ahead and purchase the last building, which is the Battalion command post, and that will cost me 2 manpower and 5 fuel, and will give me access to tanks. So again, 2 manpower, so I go from 7 to 5, and 5 fuel, so I go from 7 to 2 fuel. So next round we are going to be able to get at least a Sherman out. A little bit late for that, I think, since the victory points are really piling on here. I think I'm going to be winning soon. Let's see, do I want to buy something else? Okay, so we have 5 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and spend some money now and buy myself a Mortar Team. Remember that the infantry are really strong with this commander, so place them out, and then we have a mortar, and just like the other weapon teams, this guy start with this red dice, meaning that he's packed up. He can't do any attack until he sets up his weapon. Okay, and that is all for me. For this turn, I am going to go ahead and advance the enemy AI, and now you can see that the next step and all the future steps are red, or they're circled in red, and that means that you should go away from using the phase 1 deck, so remove that deck and start using the AI action deck phase 2. On top of that, the AI is now going to have, instead of 3 command points each maneuver phase, it's going to have 4, so it's going to be quite a lot more mobile. It's going to be able to attack me quite fast. So let's go back to the top view. Before we do that, we look at what they're going to spawn, and this time they're going to spawn a green and a blue unit. Alright, so let's spawn some Germans. One blue, 1 green. Okay, 1 of each there now. We also have a yellow. All right. So for our first movement, let's see what we want to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move my 80 gun up here for 1 action point. For the second action point, I'm moving the direction to over here. And then for the last, I am unpacking the weapon so it's now able to fire. And then we have an enemy card. So the first one is a red one. We don't have any red unit. The second one is a yellow attack, a yellow assault, unrevealed yellow unit, which we have 1 move to the nearest enemy unit. So the nearest enemy unit is going to be my infantryman over here. So it's going to go ahead and move quite many steps. So I got to move all the way over here. Like I said, I'm playing standing up. Okay, so first of all, remember the yellow units always have the speed die. So the first move is spent with the speed die. Then it spends 3 command points. So 1, 2, 3. moving closer to my units. And then we have one more CP, because remember now during the phase 2 of the attack, we will have 4 CP for the enemy. And next one is gonna be for this guy, because it's gonna be the green one to capture a point, and he's gonna move closer. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this way is closer. So he's moving towards and capture point is called green control point. Green unit that is not on a play control or neutral control point. Move towards the nearest control point the AI does not control and has no units on. And that means it's my turn. I only get to spend 3, unfortunately, CP. And I'm gonna go ahead and... Okay. I'm gonna do something funny, I guess. Oh, I want to get my mortar. Let's get rid of this enemy card. So I want to get my mortar into place. So these guys are moving. I don't know if this is some kind of terrain that you can't move through. I think it's kind of hard to see. Looks like, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of bushes. I don't know, can you go through the bushes? I mean, soldiers can move through bushes, but it's, for me, hard to see. I guess they can, because if you look over here, this is a green cover, so that's heavy cover. So that means that you can go into that hex. So I will think that you can go through this hex. So 1, 2, 3. These guys move over here. And then the enemy turn. So we have a red, but we have no red unit. And then we have this one, which is the victory point one. So green victory point, green unit, not on a control point. Move towards the nearest victory point the AI does not control. So the green one is going to move 1, 2, 3. Oh, almost have sight on him, not quite. And then the next one is for the artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's still 4 hexes away. And the last one is yellow, but the yellow has been fully activated, so we cannot activate more. So the last and the 4th CP is wasted for the AI. So it's my last movement, and I think I know what I'm gonna do. So first of all, these guys move over here. This guy moves down here, so he loses his defense. Spends 1 CP, by the way, doing so. Then this guy, he moves, so this should be resetted. He moves 1 with the speed die, and then the last one, he moves with this. And I think I'm gonna be happy there. And another thing which happened, so this guy, remember I upgraded his sight and his range by 1 with the experience upgrade I gained from the Veteran Infantry Doctrine. And that means his range is now 3 instead of 2. So 1, 2, 3. That means this guy has been spotted. It's a Veteran Panzer Grenadier squad. And since they walked into my range, they are also pinned down. They have a reveal action here, which is do 1 roll of damage. And unfortunately, these guys are going to suffer from that. So they, or actually, since they get pinned, the reveal action is ignored, and also they have a range of 2 only, so they don't reach. So I ignore that reveal action. Again, pinning is very, very, very effective. Okay, so that was my last turn. So now for the Germans, we have an assault. That's not going to happen because they have no red unit. a green one. We have the green control points. Let's see, do we have... Yes, we have one there that is not on a player controlled or neutral control point, closest to base. So he is gonna move towards the victory point control up there. So I gotta walk around the table. So 1, 2. He spends 2 command points. And that is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take back all of these command points. Actually, they have 2 more, since this guy spent 2, and they have 4 now. And the next one, which is the blue one, is gonna let the mortar move within 4 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys, unfortunately for me. So that's very bad. That is very, very bad. But anyway, we are gonna win because we have so many victory points. So we're not really gonna have a problem. Okay, so we will also take away RCP. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a closer look at the battlefield, because there is gonna be some firing now, and it's gonna be quite intense, because I'm gonna both take mortar fire and they are gonna take machine gun fire from me. Okay, so we have quite an interesting situation right here. By the way, I'm spawning the minis for the veteran panzer. Oh, they're veteran panzer grenadiers, so they shouldn't have a machine gun. They should consist of just 5 infantry units. And the veteran panzer grenadiers, they are tough to beat actually, because since they are veterans, they also gain the defense die. So they're quite hard to beat, but these guys are pinned, so it's not going to be a big problem. Anyway, just for now, so you can see the units, I am going to move the houses temporarily, so you can see the units in play. Okay, so let's look at the situation. I am going to be able to fire with my machine gun, which has an upgraded range and sight on these guys. Unfortunately, they aren't upgraded, so they can only fire with 1 hit. And then this mortar unit is going to fire 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not quite sure who he's going to target. Let's see. His damage type is high explosive, right? Yes, that's correct. And high explosive is going to prioritize purple, which is emplacement, and then infantry. And then it's going to be priorities closest to victory point. Okay, so they are both 1 hex away or 2 hexes away. Lowest health. 1, 2. Okay, so he's too far away from the victory point to actually count. He's 3 hexes away. Lowest health. They both have 3 in health. So that is going to be the last priority, which is reading order, and that makes it this guy. Okay, so we do some dice rolling first to find out what kind of damage we're looking at. Let's see where I can fit this so you can see. Okay, so it needs to be red to be a miss, black for 1, green for 2 damage, and ooh, it's a green one, so that means 2 damage. So 2 of these guys, unfortunately, get killed by the mortar. So the mortar is nasty business. And then I get to fire back with my machine gun team, which fires on this grenadier squad. But the grenadiers, they have a defense die. Whoops. So they will get to roll a defense, so most probably I'm not going to hit them. I need a roll of red. Oh, I actually hit them, which is excellent, because by hitting them, of course, I take 1 down, but not only that, I will also gain a much needed experience point. Okay, so let's look at our resources. We will gain 3 manpower. We will gain, let's see, 1 munition, 2 fuel, and 2 victory points. So we are currently at 8 victory points. We only need 2 more victory points to win this game. Okay, so unfortunately I am not going to get very high up on this. Hardened soldier is very good, but I'm not going to reach that because next round I am most likely going to win. And that is also a little bit of the problem with the AI. The solo expansion, I gotta say, could use some work. I love the game, so again, I made my point on the Board Game Geeks forum and the Company of Heroes Facebook group that it's a very good game, but unfortunately I feel like the solo and co-op expansion is not as good. And this is also one of the reasons that even if you play against a hard commander, which might last for 8 turns, you're very rarely gonna get to the end of this and actually get to try some of the cooler stuff. So the experience point we have, I'm gonna have to, instead of waiting, I'm gonna just invest that in upgrading some of my units. So first of all, let's see, I have some munition, and I can't use that for upgrading. Oh, I can do this. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and buy myself one of, let me show you, one of these, a Sherman Tank. So Sherman cost 2 manpower and 4 munition. Sorry, 4 fuel. So I buy myself for 2 manpower and 4 fuel. Whoops. I buy myself a Sherman. And it looks like this, and it's awesome. And I'm just going to show you the card. I am going to go ahead and get this upgrade. Basically, it's a machine gun gunner up here on the top. At least it is in the video game. And I'm going to purchase that. And you will just put the upgrade die right there and spend 3 munitions for that purchase. And we're going to go ahead and spawn him right here. There we go. And let's see. Then we have an experience point. So we can upgrade someone's experience. And who do we want to upgrade then? That is the question. Okay, so let's upgrade our 80 gun, which experience. Sorry, it needs 2 experience points I can see here, so we cannot upgrade that right now, unfortunately. Well, okay then, I can upgrade my Mortar Team, so I'll upgrade my Mortar Team, which is gonna do 1 additional high explosive. So the Mortar Team gets this upgrade die, and I pay 1 experience point for that. So this is how it looks now, guys. It's a final fight here for the bridge, but I'm having a hard time thinking the Germans are going to be able to capture that bridge. So most likely the game is going to end with this next turn. And with this next turn, the AI moves to this and brings down its first heavy vehicle. So its first tank. So we have a tank incoming, but it's not going to be able to make it before we actually win the game. Let's head to the top view. Okay, so before heading topside, I just wanted to show you something cool. There is a reason why I moved my Jeep over here, because the Jeep actually has the heal ability. So any adjacent infantry which has taken casualties will get 1 free resupply, or whatever you want to call it, 1 refresh. So these guys who only had 1 soldier remaining, they now have 2. And to show you how it looks at the card, it is this ability right here. Having a hard time focusing. But anyway, it's this one. Okay guys, so let's head topside again. Alright, so we have probably our last turn, turn. Since we have 8 victory points, we only need 2 more victory points. and we're most likely gonna get this, get those victory points now. Anyway, oops, I didn't see what it was, but we have a red unit over here, our first heavy vehicle. And let's see what we want to do. We want to make sure that we can keep this victory point over here. So I don't want to move my, I don't want to move these guys. Okay. So remember that we can actually spend 4 CP now for this turn, since we have the upgrade, the Veteran Infantry Doctrine upgrade, with our infantry squadrons, that is. Of course, we're going to go ahead and move up the tank 1, 2, 3, just because it looks cool. And we kind of want this guy to be ready here in case I actually lose in some way that victory point. And then it's the enemy's turn, and they have a red assault. So that is red assault, unrelieved red unit, revealed red unit, move towards the nearest enemy. So it's gonna spend 3 CP moving. Let's see. Towards my units. 1, 2, 3. So it moves over here. So I have no sight of it. And then there is a green control point, green unit that is not on a play controlled or neutral control point, closest to base, which is going to be this one. It can't move anywhere because it's blocked, so it's going to be this one instead. We'll move towards the nearest control point the AI does not control. So that is going to be, see, that one. And that is it for the Germans. So I have 3 CP to spend. And I gotta get myself a wireless microphone. Let's see what I want to do here. I want to set up my mortar. Or do I? Nope, let's wait with that. I want to get 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to get in range to that mortar over there. So this guy over here is gonna go ahead and move into the building again for 1 CP, and he will benefit from the defense of that building, the heavy cover. So he will have 2 defense dice. And then I'm moving my mortar team for 2 points up here. And then it's the enemy's turn. And they have a victory control, green victory point. Green unit not on a control point. Move towards the nearest victory point. And that is going to be, let's see, closest to base also. So it's going to be the one over there. So it's going to spend 3 CP. 1, 2. It can't get in there. So it's going to move over here then. 2. And then the next one is red, but that's used all of its power. But we have a yellow one, which is attack. Yellow assault. Unrevealed yellow unit. Move to the nearest enemy and prioritize enemy closest to victory points. So let's see. We have... how much? We have 4 CP remaining. And that one can also spend its... let's see, 1, 2... spends its speed die, which I have forgotten to reset. And that means 1, 2, 3 is also going to be revealed because of my increased sight. And it's a bombing run. Okay, that is not good for me. Let's see. The bombing run, I actually don't know what it does. I keep forgetting the events, because when you have these events, you have to look at the appendix, and the bombing run is going to do 1 HE and 2 splash damage to the unit that reveal this token. So, okay, my machine gunner is dead, and that might be a problem. I might lose the victory point. Anyway, 2 HE, so we have to roll for that. So we'll do that directly. And the HE on that alone does 3 damage. 1 normal hit, 1 crit. So this guy is gone. So we remove the pinned status from this guy. Whoops. And then it does splash damage, meaning that it does 1 damage to all the guys around it. But this guy has a defense die. It's red, so he also unfortunately loses 1 health. Okay, that is a little bit problematic. I'm not happy about that. Anyway, the event is then removed directly. And actually it was 2 splash damage, 1 HE. So this guy is gone. And also the machine gunner is dead. So that is, sometimes those events, they don't do much. Sometimes they completely screw up your plans. Alright, so that should be the end of it. I have some movement points here. And what I think I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and move my Jeep, which also hasn't had this refreshed. Let's see. First I use the speed die for 1 hex here. And then 2 more command points to move it adjacent to this one, blocking them from taking this point for this turn. I use the last command point to set up my mortar unit. And that is now leads us to the last movement phase of the whole game. Red victory point, but they can't, they've already maximized their victory points. Then we have a green get closer to victory point, but they can't get closer either. So they will not do anything. However, we have this green unit, so that is going to move closer to the victory point. So this guy moves over here. And then the last 2 CP for the Germans is going to be used on this one. But actually, let's see. Okay, this can't get closer either. So lucky thing that I blocked them. Otherwise, these Panzer Grenadiers would have moved into the victory control point. So anyway, these last 2 CP will be used for that blue unit, which is probably a mortar, but it could also be 1, 2. It could also be event 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So remember, the blue ones always only have 1 action, and that is basically to get within 2 of your squadrons. I also see here, it's kind of hard not to make any errors because I keep track of the video and everything, and audio cords swinging about. But of course I captured this the last turn, so I should actually have been awarded 1 more munition point. But anyway, that is it. That is the last maneuver phase, and we are going to have some firing here going on. The Germans are going to take a few shots at us, so we're going to resolve that, and then we're going to do our last supply phase. So let's see if I can win this. Before we start the damage phase, I also noted that this one should actually be revealed, since it's within the range, within the sight of the Jeep. And it's a veteran MG42 team, and you can see the reveal action here is gonna be to pin, but Jeeps cannot be pinned, only infantry can be pinned. So we're good. Our Jeep does not have to pay for that. And just for fun, I am gonna go ahead and set up that last German unit. Like I said, if you pay $400 for minis, well, you should use them. So let's see. I don't think I'm gonna lose that victory point, but maybe there is something strange the Germans can do. Let's check out what happens. Anyway, that ends up there. Okay, so then we have quite an interesting battle going on here, because my Jeep is gonna be able to fire upon this unit. My mortar unit is also going to be firing on them or the enemy mortar unit, and the enemy mortar unit is going to go ahead and fire on my infantry like before, and it's going to fire on the infantry which is closest to the victory point, and these guys share that, and it's going to be then the lowest health one, so it's actually going to fire at this guy, probably killing him, and of course these guys are going to take out my Jeep. So first of all, let's resolve our fighting, and my Jeep here is doing, let's see, the Jeep has 1 anti-infantry damage, so it takes down one of these guys. My mortar will do 2 high explosive damage, so I'm gonna have to roll for those, and you know the deal. I need, let's see, where can I put it so you can see my rolls? I need green rolls, and it's 1 green, 1 red, so the red one is 0, but the green one is 2 damage. So I managed to do 2 damage to that mortar unit, which is hiding back here. And that mortar unit is going to go ahead and target my 80 gun. And it's only targeting with 1 HE. And it's a black one, so that is 1 damage. My 80 gun is upgraded with the defense die. So we will roll for defense. Unfortunately, it's a red die. So that means the 80 gun is unable to defend himself. He's killed in battle. Let's see, do we have anything else? These guys can't reach anyone, and these guys can't reach either. So these guys, their damage is 2 AP, 2 armor piercing, and this guy doesn't have any kind of resistance to that, obviously, so he is gonna have to take that damage. And the Jeeps, they have a damage of or a health of 2, so that means that the Jeep is destroyed by these veteran Panzer Grenadiers. However, I successfully blocked them with my Jeep from taking over that control point. So I still have this control point. The Germans have not been able to snatch that from me. And we have to thank the Jeep for his sacrifice defending that bridge, because that means basically I've won. So let's take a last look here at our resources. So first of all, we're only in the 6th step here, so it could go for 3 more steps, so basically 3 more turns. We have manpower, we have 3, so we go from 2 to 5. Munition, we have 2, so we go from 1 to 3. Fuel, we have 2, so we go from 0 to 2. And then finally, victory points, we have a victory point income of 2, so we go from 8 to 10, and that's marked with one of those orange cubes. And that means we have won this scenario. So this is Trois Ponts, or Ponts, which is the recommended scenario to play your first time using the solo expansion. Also the first time, I guess, playing with people. And you can see that the battle is going to be concentrated here on the middle of the bridge. And I think this is a really cool map. But again, unfortunately, with the AI, it's very uncommon that you are going to have enough time to bring out the big stuff, to bring out the last things from the Doctrine commander and so on. And that is very unfortunate, but you can fix that with house rules. For example, I do with this with the Feeble commander, which you can play for 8 turns before losing, and you have to get 10 victory points. I instead do that, you have to get 20 victory points, and you will play, instead of 8 turns, you will play 16 turns. So once you reach the defeat, instead you will put it on this one, not the first one, but the first red one, and you will repeat the red circle or the red cycle 2 more times. So that means basically you're going to do 4 white events, and then you're going to do 12 red ones. So again, repeating this a total of 3 times. So 2 more times than the standard mode, and again 20 victory points instead of 10. And that can make it a little bit more challenging depending on how you do early on in the game, because if you do really good early on in the game, you're probably going to do quite good the whole game, but if you do badly, it's going to be quite hard to recuperate and get back those victory points. Anyway, guys, this is Company of Heroes, the board game with the co-op expansion, with the terrain pack number 1 and 2 expansion. And again, I really want to hear your thoughts about how I recorded this. This was my first time recording this game, so some shenanigans going on, some shaking of the camera and so on, and I hope to get better with that. But other than that, I would love to hear your feedback about what do you think of the top view, camera view, and so on. What do you think I can improve, and what can I do better? And as always, please don't forget to share the video, like the video, give me a comment, and subscribe. That really means a lot to me, and you know, inspires me to do more of this stuff. And I'm sure many of you want to see more of Company of Heroes. We have many more doctrines to play, and many more of the nations to play, and many more of the maps. So if you like this video, stay tuned to the channel. See you next time.